All right, Travis. We watched two pieces of shit. We watched Border Cop with a bunch of people I've never heard of. Eddie Albert, I don't know the fuck that is. And we watched Homeboy with Philip Michael Thomas. I have no idea the fuck that is. But they're both terrible. They're both pretty fucking terrible. But do you want to try to attempt to explain Border Cop?
Yeah. And for both of these movies, we were both drawn in by the names and then the description on the back.
Please read the description of that.
Okay. So, like, for Border Cop, you know, it's Frank Cooper is a hard-boiled cop who patrols the Mexican border. He has lost more cars and partners than anyone else on the force. Frank has a special hatred for high-powered Mexican locals who get rich by smuggling their neighbors into high-risk, low-wage jobs. Follow the car-crashing, roof-riding action as Frank Cooper attempts to clean up the border and save the foster son from a life of organized crime. So, by that description, and then the title, Border Cop.
Right.
And then this, like, old white bald guy on the back with a gun. I was like, all right, this is probably going to be, like, pretty entertaining and racist. And, I mean, it was some of those things. But overall, there wasn't a whole lot of action that went on. There was, like, this whole, like, telenovela thing that went on.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
Well, these like long drawn out love story scenes about the foster son that he has and his newly wife or whatever.
In which you would never know it was his foster son unless you read that box.
Right.
But this thing literally starts off with Border Cop here, and he's just patrolling the border.
Yeah.
And then he just drives into Mexico and visits a family. We don't know who these characters are. It's just a very young Mexican girl and what looks to be a white guy that's playing a Mexican. And, there's a big, long party. And that goes on for a little while. Tacos!
Now that kind of thing happens on a Tuesday night in my neighbor's backyard. And half the time I join them. Yeah.
And then the antagonist shows up. He's an Italian man, who you said was on Boardwalk Empire, right?
No. In this movie, it's a guy that plays Frank Pentangeli in The Godfather 2. Which is a character from that movie. If you've ever seen The Godfather 2, then you know who Frank Pentangeli is.
Oh, right. That's right. Because the other guy in this is from Boardwalk Empire.
There's another guy in that.
That's right.
Yeah.
So anyway, antagonist shows up, and nothing happens. He's like, hey, you're that border cop.
Yeah.
And that's it. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
I hear you got one wet today, Kungo, from kissing in the wind.
That's pretty much
And then, literally, it turns into a Mexican soap opera.
Yeah.
For about it seems like 30 minutes. It couldn't have been that long, but it seems like it is.
For quite a while.
It's just the boy and the girl. They get married. They kiss on a hammock.
Yeah, trying to make a life in their little dirt hut.
Right.
Uh-oh. Turn on the blue light for the lightning.
Yeah.
It's high. And it's dry.
Ah, yes, young love.
And in her case, really young love.
Yeah, no shit.
Which they now have a roof for.
Yes, because
apparently that's what was hinging on the whole marriage thing was they didn't have a roof for their hut.
Yeah, and an antagonist shows up.
The drug lord guy
He's not a drug dealer. He's
whatever he is.
And
like,
that's the thing. Like, you watching this, you think he'd be a drug lord.
yeah, the gang guy, the fucking mob guy.
But he
whatever.
he
The guy
owns
that
a
runs
slaughterhouse.
the village.
We're getting ahead of ourselves, but anyway.
No. He's a trafficker. That's what he is. He traffics the workers into the slaughterhouse over in the States.
Right. Okay. That's
what he is. He's a trafficker.
Okay.
Okay. Of humans.
Right. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Right.
So you're right. So, like, antagonists, Italian man who's supposed to be a Mexican who speaks no Spanish.
Yeah.
He hands the little boy. He hands him like a piece of a roof.
Right.
Signifying that.
Hey,
he now owns a roof.
Here's your roof. Now you can get married.
Yeah.
That's literally what he says in the movie.
And then they get married.
He's like, well, I got a roof now. I want to do it tomorrow. And she's like, tomorrow.
A roof, Romero. A roof. Benito Romero, will you please marry this girl now? Tomorrow? Tomorrow!
Then cut to border cop taking a nap at the border.
Yeah, he's next day he's on his job and he's like, I had a little too much fun the night before. I'm gonna take my morning nap. Mm-hmm. While he's been partnered with this new like rookie cop who's all like gung ho about the job.
Right, who has 3 lines in this movie.
Yeah. And he's basically like, if you want to do your job, fucking do your job. Go sit over there and look. I'm gonna go back in the car and take a nap.
And the best part was he's like, now it's morning nap time, and the partner's like, morning nap. He's like, hey, I can't interfere with my afternoon nap.
Yeah. Or it's time for my night nap. Like, I think they just call that sleeping.
Yep. River looks good. Yeah. Time to take a break.
Just you and me.
Just you and me. All day, boy. Just you and me.
You see anything or not?
Not a damn thing.
What's our procedure?
Well, it's time for my morning nap.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm late for my morning nap, it interferes with my afternoon nap, and that's my procedure, officer Hale.
Can we scout that royal over there?
Of course, if that's your procedure.
Wow, takes the belt off and everything.
The young guy works for the antagonist, the Italian Mexican.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Italian Mexican is like, hey, you need to come work for me because I gave you this roof to get married.
Yeah.
So he does. He is a coyote, but yet he works at a slaughterhouse.
Well, he's like, look. At first, he's like, look, you're going to take these people, you're going to drive them in this truck, they're going to get out and they're going to do work, and then you're going to... It made it seem like he was going to keep doing this for this guy.
Right.
And like, he gets his first load of people, they drive to the slaughterhouse, and when they get to the slaughterhouse, they're like, nah, you're not fucking going anywhere.
Get to work. Yeah.
Do you think you can do the work of a man? Well, if it's necessary, good luck in America, son. You'll do the driving to show them your route.
Take them across this one time.
All right, get out and go to work. I hope you enjoyed the 17-hour dark ride in the dark. Now you're gonna go do backbreaking labor.
And then we actually get a whole like sequence of cows getting cut open.
Yeah, like pretty more.
And it was, and like the fucking the guys axing off the horns of the bulls and shit. Like it was
like Faces of Death.
It was pretty graphic. Like shit, I'm not gonna be able to show.
Yeah.
But it's in this movie. They put it in there. There was no censoring of that shit.
That was like
it was legit slaughterhouse shit.
That was like the goriest thing that happened in the whole movie.
Yeah.
The fucking cow slaughter scene.
And you we actually see. Remember that cow that just gets cut open? It's just blood everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it just drips down. Like it was violent.
Well, now we get to have a lovely slaughter scene of the fucking...
Wait a second, so that kid... Oh, wow. God. Oh, God. They actually showed that. Jesus.
Get to work, kid.
Oh, my God. It's like legit fucking slaughterhouse shit.
All of a sudden we're watching Faces of Death.
God. It just has a fucking saw. It's just like, here you go. You gotta really saw through the bone.
Yeah. And you're gonna really want to dig those organs out of there.
Jesus. That just happened.
But then, like, the workers' conditions are very poor, and they don't.
Which is why they got the Mexicans.
Right, and they don't get paid very well.
Right.
And they don't get very long breaks and stuff like that. They don't get fed very well.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're slave labor, essentially.
Right. And, you know, they're kind of at a boiling point, I guess. And then there's this thing that happens with this kid who I guess falls asleep on the job.
The kid keeps on falling asleep.
Yeah, he's got like narcolepsy.
Yeah. He has like 3 or 4 lines, and every time you see him, he's sleeping.
Right. And so the white boss decides, hey, I'm going to teach this kid. And so he picks up a bucket of blood and throws cow blood on him.
Yeah.
And the kid like freaks out. Hey, man.
Was this kid have narcolepsy or something?
Yeah, really. Kid's never done a really hard day's work before, I guess. Even though he comes from Mexico. Just going to throw chunks of meat on him or something?
Little bastard, I'll teach you.
It's cow blood. Comes running outside and he's looking for the young guy.
Romero, right? Was his name Romero?
Romero, yeah, the one that married the chick, who's now been stuck over here in the States working at this slaughterhouse. And he's like, hey, what the hell did you do to this kid? And then, you know, they're like, shut your mouth, Mexican.
Yeah.
And then they go on and have a revolution.
Right, and then essentially Romero kind of has them strike where they're supposed to set the cows free,
right?
But they just move another pin.
Right, yeah, they just open one gate but close another.
And then that's whenever Romero's wife, Elena, who is the main actress in this, she goes to antagonist's house, or she gets kidnapped pretty much, taken to Italian Mexicans, and then he rapes her.
Yeah.
You know, because we bat 1,000 in movies with rape.
Yeah, bat 1,000 for the rape.
And it's like we've seen a lot of really creepy rape scenes in these movies. This is by far the creepiest. He's like, "You're so young." He's like petting her face. He's like, "You're so young," and he doesn't say it once. He says it repeatedly.
Yeah.
And it was like, you just feel dirty. You just feel dirty.
Lena. Lena. You're so young. No. I will hurt you.
You're already hurting me.
You're so young.
So young.
Oh God, that was incredibly creepy.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Never seen The Godfather 2. Don't judge his acting performance in this on how well he is in that, because he's great in that.
I mean, I'll give him this. He fully committed to being a pedophile.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I get if that's a good thing, and I don't know, but it was pretty disturbing.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And so Romero's like, "Fuck this shit! I gotta get out of here."
Mm-hmm.
And so he just bolts and starts making it back from Mexico and the little village that he's from.
Yep.
But at the same time, the girl who's been raped, now she's like, I gotta get out of here and get back to Romero. So she hops onto one of those trucks that's smuggling the people to the slaughterhouse. And But, you know, unbeknownst to each other, they're going in the opposite direction.
Right, yeah. So, because Romero's an idiot, he goes to the village, or he goes to, like, the town, and he fights, like, the cartel guy, or the coyote guys, gets his ass whooped by all the cartel coyote guys, and then he gets captured and taken to Italian Mexicans, you know, big house.
Yeah, hacienda.
Yeah. And then at one point, we thought that Italian Mexican was going to rape Romero.
Right.
Because it got really weird.
Because he's like, everybody get out. Leave me alone.
Yeah, and like Romero's like had his ass whooped and he's all bent over the table, like with his ass up. And you're just like, oh.
You are my brother, Anakin.
I'm gonna make love to this boy's ass. I don't want you watching.
Take care of myself.
And then what's really, like, he doesn't do it because Border Cop shows up.
Right.
And so he rescues him. But then, right after that happens, cut to them shooting at Border Cop's truck, and he's not in it because, you know, he's using a trick.
Yeah.
But Border Cop kills one of the Mexican guys, and then Italian Mexican boss is really sad.
Yeah.
It's as if he was like in love with that guy.
Yeah.
Thereby making more sense that he was going to rape Romero. Like that was going to happen.
Yeah. If he had just had 10 more minutes.
Yeah, 10 more minutes. Yeah, there would have been some full penetration there.
Yeah.
It was a very fucking weird movie.
Yeah.
They really loved each other.
And then Romero's like, what are we going to do? And Border Cop's like, I don't know. Roll credits. It just ends.
Yeah,
like,
that's
it freeze frames. I'm like, he's like, I don't know. Roll credits. Like,
hey, we're in the fucking States now. The world's our oyster, kid.
And I was really hoping that they would get in and then Border Cop would make a U-turn and deport them. But he didn't do it.
Well, unfortunately, now that you're in the States, I'm going to have to arrest you. So...
Well, that was Border Cop.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else to say about that.
There's nothing more to say
there's
about it.
Yeah, there's nothing else to say.
Much like our next movie.
Yeah, much like Homeboy. This, I don't...
Once again,
Yeah.
it grabbed us by the title and the description
Right.
on the back.
Yeah, let's read the back of this. Larry Fisk never wanted to be a street fighter. Manipulated by the white man, Leroy fights his way out of the black ghetto and makes a small fortune in the bargain. That's really what it says.
Makes a small fortune in the bargain. I guess he's in the bargain game.
There's a typo.
Yeah.
When Leroy decides to cancel his contract with the mob, they try to cancel him. A car bomb intended for Leroy kills his pregnant wife. We'll get to that.
Yeah. Okay.
And drives him mad with murderous revenge. He tracks down the underworld scum who taught him how to kill and gives them a taste of their own violent medicine.
So we'd like to point out that in the description on the back of this it says pregnant wife.
Yes.
Okay, we'll get to that in a little bit.
Right.
Just want to point that out.
Okay. So this actually starts off with Leroy Fisk just kind of like walking around the streets, right?
Yeah.
And then a car pulls up and he's like, "Hey, Leroy, you want a job?"
Yeah.
Leroy's like, "All right." So cut to him in like the generic mob guys, you know,
1970s. I think like New York City.
Yeah.
You know, like mob guys.
Yeah. And the guy's getting a haircut.
Flashy clothes.
Yeah.
And, you know, polyester suits and.
Yeah. And so the mob guy's getting a haircut, and the drunk guy, like his drunk friend who got on the job, he's like, "Hey, you know, talk to the mob boss." And the mob boss is like, "I'm looking for fighters."
Yeah.
And Leroy's like, "I'm a bad motherfucker. I can whoop any white boy's ass."
Leroy,
That sure says you can fight. Fight! The Lord knows he can fight.
Whoa!
Street fighting, you know?
That guy's name is Chi-Chi.
I mean, professional street fighting. What, different rules? Rules? There aren't many rules, Leroy. Very few. You fight mean, you win mean. Look, like I said, I've been fighting all my life, and I don't need nobody to teach me. Now, I can whoop any hunky, a jive-ass nigga you throw at.
Because it's, you know, when me and Travis like, cool, this is going to be a cool blaxploitation movie.
Right.
And it sucks. But anyway, so Leroy starts fighting. He fights a 1920s guy who has a big mustache, and he's bald, and he looks like he lives like square weights.
And riding unicycles.
Yeah. And Leroy gets his ass whooped, right? Leroy gets his ass whooped throughout this movie.
Yeah,
I think he
does.
wins one fight.
Yeah. The mob guy's like, you know what though? I see something in you.
Yeah, he's like, you got hot, kid.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna send you to my training facility.
right, and Leroy trains at the training facility. He learns to fight. There's a really shitty like little montage in there.
Yeah.
That was very poorly done.
Oh man, terrible.
Yeah. They just know what it is, man. It's like, yep, he knows the handshake. He's black. We teach more than just boxing in this gym. We also teach street fighting. Don't ever grab my dick like that. Ooh. He's like, whoa, what we working with?
I got a cup, motherfucker.
Terribly done.
And then Leroy starts fighting, and he fights an Asian guy, which was cool. He whoops that guy's ass. But what's really funny is whenever they have the fights, there's always a big crowd of people holding up like money.
Yeah.
Just thereby telling you that there's an illegal fight over there. The cops should probably do something.
Right.
But they do fix this later because after he fights the Asian guy, Leroy does, the cop shows up at the pool hall. And he's like, I need a cut. Because if I don't get a cut, I'll bust your asses.
Hey, look, man, all you have to do is play ball. You can do whatever you want to. I don't care. But if you don't kick in, I mean, if you hold out on me, then you ain't got shit.
Right. Which,
So-
by the way, that guy is paid by Dabney Coleman, who you probably don't know the name, but if you looked him up and saw his face, you'd recognize him. He's been in a lot of movies and has played some pretty big roles, but not in this one. This is not one of those big roles. But just wanted to point that out. He is kind of the biggest star in this film.
I can't.
Because he's someone who's known.
Sure,
you know.
sure. The guy continued to work. This didn't ruin
Right.
his career, I guess.
Right. I mean, he was in Boardwalk Empire.
Sure,
you know.
sure. But anyway, so, you know, cop guy is like, I want to cut. Leroy's like, fuck you, pig. He's like, you're going to get yours one day. You know, he's like, you're going to pay the piper.
Right.
And the cop's like, I am the piper, motherfucker. You
Yeah,
know?
he's like, you know, the piper doesn't have to get paid or something like that.
Right,
when you are
right.
The piper.
Right, he's like, yeah. You don't have to pay the piper when you are the piper.
you don't have to pay the piper
Yeah.
when you are the piper, motherfucker.
Yeah.
One of these days, maybe you gonna pay the piper. I'm gonna pay the piper? I mean, you don't understand. See, some of us never pay the piper because some of us are the piper.
And then Leroy fights the 1920s guy again,
Right.
beats him, but he bets on himself. He's
Right.
like, I want to bet all this money on me so I can win and buy a club.
Right.
Which this came out of nowhere. We had no idea he was interested in clubs.
Because he wants to get out.
Yeah. But
wants,
he only...
wants to get out and like find a legitimate way to take care of his family.
Right.
So he thinks, I'll just bet on myself. I'm gonna do this one last fight, and then I'll get all this money. Earlier, you have the scene where he calls his wife on the phone to talk to her, and
Right.
it cuts to his and it shows his
wife.
his pregnant wife.
His pregnant wife.
She's laying on a bed. She picks up the phone and she's like, you know, like, you've been gone for 2 days, and me and his son's name, who's already, you know, like a 4-year-old or whatever.
Right.
He's like, me and blah blah blah. I've been, you know, like missing you, and you know, you should be here. Blah blah blah. And he's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then he hangs up the phone, and he's basically just like, fuck this shit. I'm calling Flo.
Yeah.
It was like his side piece.
Yes.
Hey, the hell with her. I'm going to see Flo.
The hell?
Fuck that bitch. I'm gonna see my side piece.
And so then he goes to Flo's.
Yep. Fucks her.
You know, fucks her.
Yep.
And then, like you say, you have all this other stuff that happened after that, where it's like the fights and and then him getting to the point where he wants to do this one last fight.
Yeah, and see, all this was interesting. Like him having the wife
and the side piece.
and the side piece, and him being a fighter. That was like really cool.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And then he fights 1920s guy. He whoops his ass. He wins all the money. He buys the club. This turns into a totally different movie. Like, I swear they had 2 different movies. They're like, well, half this movie's good. Here's another half of a shitty movie.
Yeah.
Let's just put these together and see what happens.
Right.
And they do that. So and they change things because the pregnant woman is his wife, right?
Yeah.
And it says on the back, his pregnant wife. And you think it's his wife. When they're in the club together, his car gets blown up because the mob wants to kill him because he won the fight.
Right.
And then he's like, they killed my sister and brother-in-law. And we were so fucking confused.
Yeah.
We're like, wait, I thought that was his wife.
And for the rest of the movie, he refers to her as his sister.
Yeah.
They told me you were dead.
No, that was Bay and her brother.
And that's just, and we're just like, I thought that was his pregnant wife.
Yeah, because remember early in the movie,
and they had this whole scene where they're in the park.
Yeah, they're in the park. They're riding bikes together,
and he's like laying down.
Yeah,
and she's like feeding him food.
Yeah.
And you're just like, that's not something a sister does.
Right. It was fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
But anyway, she's dead, right? So we're like, okay, cool. Now it's gonna turn into it's like the badass revenge movie where he's gonna kill everybody.
Right.
And it is so fucking boring.
So
long. My god. Throughout the last 45 minutes of this movie, we were just like, when is this going to end? God, I'm ready for this to be over, Travis.
Well, I think it said I saw that it was 93 minutes. So that's an hour and a half. But I don't know how long we've actually been watching it.
It feels like forever.
This whole time that he's killing one by one throughout the movie, and it's taking so long in between the one, and he gets information from each one that's supposed to lead him to the guy who was behind it all.
Right.
And you already have an idea of who you think it's supposed to be.
Yeah, well, Leroy already knows who it was.
Yeah.
It was the mob guy, but yet for some reason, he needs to get information from the Puerto Rican guy, from some other people on the streets.
But then it ends up being some totally different person at the end.
Right,
Then
right.
you're like, who the fuck is this guy?
No.
I have not seen him once in the entire movie.
He's swimming with the fishes.
Where's Logan?
I took care of Logan for you. Now you're number one on the street.
Okay.
We're partners.
You took care of Logan. And you took care of Avon. You took care of Fletch. And you took care of Fletch. You took care of Bay.
So it was this guy the whole time?
I don't know. This movie makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
And then he names his sister and his brother-in-law, and he's like, you took care of it. And then he fights.
Yeah, he's like, you were behind all of their deaths or whatever.
Yeah. And then he kills that guy. He just shoots him.
And then it just ends.
And then he goes up to a glass mirror and just punches it a couple times, and the movie ends.
Yeah, it's over.
It made no sense.
So you're just like, all right. So this whole time it was that guy who was behind all of this.
Behind everything, that guy we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Because that's why I swear this was 2 different movies. Like maybe in the beginning part of the second script they had, maybe that guy was a pivotal character.
Who knows?
But when you have 2 different scripts and you combine them, you get these continuity kind of errors here, you know.
Yes.
But I hate both these movies.
Yeah, they're both
I mean, they're both terrible. But, all right, Travis, would you recommend
No.
Border Cop?
No. It's terrible.
Would you recommend Homeboy?
No.
I agree. Fuck Homeboy,
Yeah.
fuck Border Cop.
Fuck it all. Yeah. I mean, you know, they were $1, so.
Yeah, I got ripped off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got ripped off hard.
Yeah. I in fact, if I paid $0.25 for those, I feel like I would have got ripped off.
Yeah. I feel like they should have just gave them to us.
You know, I still if someone that gave those to me, it seemed like they would have hated me.
I mean, why don't they just have a giant sign in front of all of their VHS tapes that just says, take them,
yeah,
you know?
at your own risk.
Yeah. You get what you get, but take them.